Hey folks, Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist. Stick around for this video. I promise it will be worth your time. I'm gonna be trying to keep it as short as possible, but I want to cover some basic points that you'll benefit from, no doubt. So one of the things we usually tend to do is overestimate our capabilities. This is basic human nature. Most people end up doing this. Sometimes you underestimate them. More common than not is the opposite. I've even come across people that don't know exactly how much distance they can walk. I found this in survival forums, people saying no one can walk more than 5 miles a day, 10 miles, 20. Trying to kind of guessing. I mean, dude, actually go out there with a backpack and actually check and know for a fact how much you can walk in what kind of terrain with how much weight on your back. You kind of need to know the answer to these questions. But I've even read short stories that didn't even make any sense because people had an apparent inability to walk more than 5 miles because of terrain. But I find that pretty often. People just don't know. And one of the things that often happens is you usually tend to overestimate your capabilities when it comes to this stuff. Shooting. Shooting is not like riding a bicycle. I've been shooting for a lot more time than I care to remember, but it doesn't matter. If I'm not practicing with certain frequency, I'm gonna be sucking at it, and most likely you will too. You may be an exception, a natural talent that, with minimal practice, a couple times a year, you're gonna be shooting fantastically well. Reality is, for most human beings, we need to practice this sort of stuff because it doesn't matter if you've been shooting for 20, 30 years. If you're not practicing at least once a week or a couple times a week, you're gonna be sucking more and more. So after several months of not shooting, I went to the range, and of course the results were as expected. I decided to do a little experiment. So I took my Glock for shooting. I also shot my HK USP Compact, which is a gun I don't shoot all that well. It has a higher bore axis, double action, single action trigger system is something I'm not used to. I'm a lot more used to Glock, but I decided to do the tests as well. So I'm gonna be doing 15 shots in the first round, 15 rounds in the second round, 15 shots in the other, and see what kind of score I get. And the results were pretty bad. I have to admit it. This is owing up to how much I sucked in this. So for the first one, and I was shooting, I think it was like 10-15 meters. Let's just go for 10 meters. Keeping it generous here, but 10 meters, I got 53 points out of 150 potential points. 10 would be the center, 15 rounds, 150 would be the ideal score. 53 out of 150, that kind of sucks. That's really what it is. And here I have those shots that they're covered in tape. You see, it's I could try to convince myself of, oh well, this would have been good enough for self-defense. It's usually a little bit shorter distance. It's not 10 meters. It's usually like 7 yards, so it's gonna be a bit less, and it would have kind of hit somewhat in the center of mass. Man, still not good. Second round was a bit better, 80 points out of 150. So with a little bit of practice, I get better results, which makes a lot of sense. So then I went with my Glock, and same thing here. The first 15 shots are covered with tape, right? And it got 79 points out of 150. And for a second round, I got 117 points out of 150. This is standing, shooting at trying to shoot somewhat accurately yet fast, as keeping my group tight enough. And the second round was a lot more decent. I have a couple rounds here off the black, but this is a group I'm happier with. This is okay for me. I'm happy with this. But the lesson here is, if you don't shoot every week, you're gonna be getting this suck group. If you shoot every week, you're gonna be getting this slightly improved, nicer group. And you wanna have the nicer group. You wanna shoot their center of mass, a tight, nice group. As tight as possible. Some guys will get you a nice ragged hole. perfect, fantastic for them. But this is the kind of thing you have to aspire and understand. The more time that goes by without you practicing, the more you're going to be sucking. Sure, long guns are always easier to shoot, and you're going to be shooting those more accurately. This is not like riding a bicycle. This requires frequent practice and training. Ask yourself, when was the last time you've been to a range? There's been people that haven't shot around in years. Gun owners that are assuming they're going to be doing just fine if it ever comes down to it, that haven't fired a single shot in years. You guys know that they are out there. And the same thing, if you haven't shot around for months, it's going to be the same thing. This is what happened for me. I know that if I'm practicing more often, I'm going to be getting those groups smaller. I'm going to be shooting faster, more accurately. So be honest with yourself. Be honest with how much you've been practicing and shooting. When was the last time you trained? When was the last time you compete? When was the last time you took a proper defensive shooting class? All of these things matter. But at least going to the range once a week, and you don't even have to fire like if you take yourself like 50 rounds, a box of ammo, shoot half of it 1 week, half of it the next one. It's gonna be doing a lot more for you. It's gonna be helping you keep that minimum level of speed and accuracy that you may end up needing one day. And I have the links for my books that are available there below in Amazon: Street Survival Skills and the Modern Survival Manual. Stuff that I talk about in these is about precisely this. How is it that you're going to be training, Fernando, when everything goes to hell, when everything is expensive, ammo is expensive? Well, one of the things I explain here is that you can get this. You can get yourself a Glock air gun. This is made by Umarex under license by Glock. It's, they have different models. I'll leave the links for these as well. They're quite popular for Glock owners. With this, you're going to be able to practice more often, and even without leaving your house. But again, I have to be completely honest with you guys, be honest with myself. I haven't even been doing this, always with some excuse, work, family, whatever it is, but I haven't been practicing with this either. Last time I actually shot was actual real bullets, not even using this that was within reach, and I have no excuse in terms of how cheap this is. Shooting this stuff is worth like I don't know, like a bottle of 50 or 500 pellets is a few bucks, and those little bottles of CO2 are very inexpensive as well. You can shoot it in your own home. There's no excuse, and I know for a fact that if I've been practicing more with this thing, I would have done a lot better here with the real thing. Okay, folks, be honest with yourself, just like I'm being honest here with myself, and embrace the suck. I think it is the military term in terms of your own shortcomings and your own laziness of not practicing as much as you know you should, and do something about it. Get better. Guys, that's going to be all for now. Links below for this stuff. And honestly, do get this. It's quite handy. It's a very valuable tool in terms of, especially with the price of ammunition. And of course, if you're interested in survival and preparedness, get my books as well. See you on the next video, folks. Have an awesome day. Take care.